Hi, this is Straight A Programming, and I'm going to talk about sockets in C. I created a program, well, I created multiple programs. Um, it's an implementation of Caesar cipher, and what I've done is I've created. I use sockets to create servers. I've created a server that's a key that generates a key, and then I created a server that in for encryption, and I've created a server for decryption, and I created clients um, that are separate programs that are used to communicate to the servers. Um, Servers are listening for these connections, and they create they use the fork to create a separate process to handle the connections. So I'm going to briefly, without going over everything step by step, because this is a lot of code. I'll just go through these very quickly. So this is the client, and this is the encrypt client.c, the encryption client, and this is going to communicate with the encryption server. And so what this program does is it takes an account like Google or Amazon and a password, like that unencrypted password. Okay. Um, so it sets up a connection to the encryption server, and it's going to connect to local host. I'm just doing this all on my computer, and it's going to be the connection is going to be at port 8080 for the encryption client, for the encryption server. Excuse me. It's here 8080 for the server is going to be listening on port 8080. So the client needs that port to connect to it. So this program sends the account name, like Amazon or Google, and a password to the server. It waits for a response from the server, which is going to be an encrypted version of the password. And so I this program prints out the encrypted password received from the server, and then it closes the connection. So you can play this video slowly so you can kind of look at the code. A lot of it's standard stuff for sockets. Okay, so I'll talk about the server. And this is what is listening on port 8080. This keygen port is the key generator server. So this will connect to the key generator server, key generation server to get a key. So I'll go over that server in a little bit. This program listens for connections, and these connections are like the clients that are going to send it an account and password. So when a client does connect, which is what happens in sockets when there's it's handling a connection, it's going to make when it handles a request. So that's when the client, the encryption client, connects. This server is going to create a new process. Okay, so to handle the requests, and so you can set this up to handle multiple clients. I mean, as many as you want. It's kind of a small program, so I don't set it up that way, but we, so then, so when the server is connected to the client, it's going to receive that account name and password. The server is then going to connect to another server, which is the key generation server that I was talking about, to get an encryption key for the given account. So since it's a Caesar cipher, it's going to be like an integer. It's going to rotate. This is going to rotate basically the password. So if it was 3, if the key generates a 3, it's going to just move it over 3 to the right. So it's not a difficult encryption algorithm going on. It's just Caesar cipher. And then the server is going to store the encrypted password in SQL Lite database, which is a command line database, like a file database. It's for testing. It's not for big, robust data, but you can use it to test and build your programs with. And I liked it better. It's better than reading and writing to a file. To work with a database. It's just, after storing the encrypted password in a database, the server sends the encrypted password back to the client. And so that's how that works. It just receives the account and password from the client and gets a key from the key server and encrypts the password, stores it in a database with the account, and sends it back to the client. Let's go keygenerator.c. So this is another server. Remember, the client is not a server. That's just like a program that runs and connects to the server encryption server. This is a server too. This generates a key, and this runs on port 8082 on localhost on my computer. And so the clients are going to be like the clients are the servers, not the encryption server and decryption server that I'm talking about. They'll make requests for the key that's being used for the account. So if the account's like Amazon or Google, and then there was a key generated by this server, it's going to send that key to the encryption or decryption server. So the servers actually become like clients for the key generator. So when one of these clients connect, this creates a new process to handle the request. So this server receives an account name from the client. And so this key generator server is going to search the database for that account, like Amazon or Google, and if an encryption key already exists for the account, well, let's go with if no key is found. If this server has not generated a key for the account, it's going to generate a new random key. And it's going to store that key in a database if it's newly generated. If it's found, it's going to send the key So it kind of does two things. It searches if the key exists for an account, and if it exists, it's going to send that key to the encryption server or decryption server. And if it doesn't exist, it's going to generate a key and send it. So the way that works, because the way the server and the decryption and encryption servers work, the encryption server is going to when it connects to the key server to this program is going to generate a new key. But the decryption server is going to it's when it handles requests from the decryption server, it's going to end up finding the key and sending it. So since you can just go slowly through the video and read the comments I have in the code. I wrote a lot of comments to explain everything. Decrypt client is the same, is very similar to the encrypt client. So the decryption server is going to be running on port 8081. So the decryption client is that's who it's going to connect to. It's basically going to give it an account. So at the command line, the user will enter an account name. And so it creates a connection to the decryption server, which is running on localhost port 8081, like I just mentioned. So this program, this client, decrypt client, is going to send the account name to the server. So the response from the decryption server is a decrypted password. So this program is going to print out the decrypted password received from this decryption server and close the connection. When you scroll through the code, maybe you can pause it and read the comments and go over encrypt server. So as you see, it's running port 8081, and it's going to the key server at 82. That's what it's running on the computer. So it's listening to handle the client connections that are going to have accounts. And when a client does connect, when one of those programs, as decrypt client connects, it's going to create a new process to handle these connections. So this server, the decryption server, is going to receive an account name from the clients. So this server then is going to connect to the key server to get the encryption key for that account. So the server is going to retrieve the encrypted password. The server is going to check the database to find the encrypted password for the given account. It's going to decrypt the password using the encryption key from the key server. It's going to send the decrypted password back to the client. So it's going to receive the account name from the client, retrieve an encryption key from another server. It's from the key server. It's going to use that key to decrypt a stored password from the database and send the decrypted password back to the client. see the fork process to create a new process to handle a client. Okay, so I have three. I'm gonna run three servers. So now they're not running, but I want to show you something to because instead of I already compiled everything. Okay, before the okay, so when you have a bunch of all these files are going to be working together. So what you want to do is make a make file to compile. This is what a make file could look like. So it compiles um, all the files for this. Now, and now I'm going to show you when you have. I'm going to be running three servers at the same time. They all got to be running. You create a bash script so you can run all the servers in the background, and that's the ampersand for the background. So if you don't do this, you're going to have to run each of these every time. So now I can just run it really quickly. And the PS process right there is to show you what's running right now. You know, initially I was reading and writing to a file, encryptions and decryptions and account names, but in reality, you're going to be using a database, and this is like a lightweight database. It requires almost no setup. This is the setup right here. It just creates a couple of tables. So, and so these are some of the commands you're going to use once the program's running to test it out. So, okay. So you see that the encryption server, decryption server, and key generator server are running, and you can see they're running now in the background. They're processes that are running. So let's see here. Okay, so you see that. And let's open. I'm using the SQL Lite tool because I created this database. Okay, so I got two. So basically, they're okay. Watch. See, they're empty. That table's empty. That's going to be they're all empty. So right now. So also wanted to put which is I wanted to show the setup. You got to do this before you run the programs. These are the SQL queries. Create this table and create the encrypted password. And it's going to have an account, text primary key, and encrypted password text. Oh. Anyways, um, so nothing's in there yet. So we'll create a Google account, and we'll just call it my password. See, key generated, encrypted password right there. And so, so Google And there it is. You see these matches, the password. And so the key was 18. Okay. And so the way this works is the decrypt client, you just give it the account name, my password, and then you go, let's do another one. So 20 was the Amazon's randomly generated key, and that table has that. Let's see, and then matches the one that's already was printed out, and then let's just go Amazon. Okay, so that's kind of how it works, and um, and of course you need to stop all these so you can make sure all that stops. And that's sockets in C. This is important for operating systems. And those three servers, listening for connections, creating new processes to handle client connections. And this is an example of how they can work together and how you can set up a simple SQL Lite database for testing purposes instead of having using files. And this is like a file database. So, all right, thank you.